American warships are escorting more tankers up the Gulf to Kuwait. The convoy left under the cover of darkness, but the ships are being shadowed by Soviet and Iranian gunboats. A hostage comes home. Charles Glass is back in Britain and with his family. Rudolf Hess, he died from asphyxiation. He left a suicide note. Sri Lanka wants Britain's SAS to help protect its president. Also tonight, famine, and the fear that it might be about to happen all over again in Ethiopia.
The market town of Hungerford in Berkshire is sealed off by armed police tonight. At lunchtime in the town's high street, which was crowded with market day shoppers, a man armed with an automatic rifle went berserk. According to the Chief Constable of Thames Valley Police, at least 9 people have been killed and 14 injured. The majority were shot in the high street. One of those killed was a policeman. 2 bodies, both women's, were found elsewhere, one of them in a burning house, the other in a forest. Tonight, scores of armed police are searching Hungerford and the countryside around it. All people in the area have been told to lock themselves into their homes. This is the sequence of events as far as we know them at the moment. Hungerford is a town just off the M4 motorway, about 60 miles west of London. At about 12:45 at Froxfield, a couple of miles outside Hungerford, an armed man attempted to rob a petrol station. He fired at the cashier and fled empty-handed. At 12:53, the fire brigade was called to a house in Fairfield Road, Hungerford. Inside, they found a body, a woman's. At 1 o'clock in Hungerford High Street, a man started firing indiscriminately. A number of people were killed. A short time later, a man was seen entering a school in Priory Road. Police are concentrating their operation there. The other body was found in Savernake Forest, just outside Marlborough, after 2 children were found wandering in the forest. First, from Hungerford, we have a report from Peter Gould.
Hungerford has been sealed off since midday, when the gunman, a local man believed to be in his mid-20s, walked through the town firing indiscriminately. Among those killed, a local policeman who tried to reason with him. The gunman also set a house on fire. It burned out of control because the emergency services were unable to approach the scene. It's thought ambulance men were amongst those injured as they tried to tend the wounded. The sequence of events appears to have begun with the discovery of a woman's body in a forest about 10 miles from Hungerford. The alarm was raised when her 2 children were found wandering by passers-by. A short time later came reports of the second shooting incident, this time at a filling station at Froxfield. Shots were fired at the cashier, but she ducked and escaped injury. After reports of further shootings in Hungerford itself, police flooded the area. Among those drafted in, police marksmen wearing flak jackets. Police helicopters joined the search as the man was sighted first in one place, then another. But throughout the afternoon, he managed to evade the police. The town itself is still in a state of shock. Many people know the gunman and can scarcely believe what's happened. What set this tragic chain of events in motion is still unclear. Understandably, there's still considerable confusion about the exact sequence of events. But from all accounts, once the gunman arrived here in Hungerford, he opened fire on people more or less at random.
When I got there, there was an ambulance backing into the drive fast, which had been fired upon. And one of the women was holding herself, the ambulance woman, but I'm not sure if she was shot. The other one was saying she was, but she wasn't shot. So we ended up in a communal room. There were a load more shots. I was shouting out the window for people to get off the street. And next thing I saw him coming down South View. Yeah, it's down the side of Prime Road, down the side of Prime Square. A big type of thing there, like a collision car. And he had another gun there. And he went along the front of the primary school, and he went up behind the primary school, and he must have gone off behind the houses there and come back through the coal yard. Because the next thing I heard some shots over that. We looked over that when a van that belongs to Norland Nurseries piled into the edge, and we ran along to him. And the gunman had disappeared then. He was shot through the throat and the face. And his person with him was just covered in his blood and was walking around the road all sort of white. Well, then there were just loads more shots, and you heard the policeman was dead, a taxi driver was dead. And he didn't come back along that way then, but then there were some more shots over that way. And the police didn't seem to have any interest in that direction, but they seemed to go that way.
Do you have any idea of the weapon the man has?
He has more than one. We've recovered an automatic weapon, but since that was recovered, still more shots have been fired. We suspect that he's got a hand weapon. He may also have a high-powered rifle as well.
You say an automatic weapon. Was that a machine gun?
I haven't seen the weapon. All I know is it was an automatic weapon.
How much of a problem now is it going to be capturing this man if he is still clearly heavily armed?
It's always a problem, but of course we've got the firearms teams here now. The first thing we've got to do is locate the man so that we can then go and make sure that all the injured people are removed from the immediate area. The actual capture of the man has got to be second priority. We must get to the injured people.
There are still injured people then who haven't been treated?
Yes.
And as the search for the gunman continues, it still isn't clear how many more casualties there may be in and around Hungerford, perhaps in urgent need of medical attention.
Thames Valley Police have set up a special casualty bureau to answer inquiries about the dead and injured. There are 5 lines. The numbers are 08675 715 31 I'll repeat that number. The code is 08675 and the number itself 715 31 And the police stress that those numbers are for relatives of the victims only and not for any other cause. And we will be going back to Hungerford to our correspondent Peter Gould there for more news as we receive it. Philip.
Another convoy of tankers with American military protection is on its way up the Gulf to Kuwait. It's the third convoy to make the hazardous journey and is being shadowed by Iranian and Soviet warships. 3 reflagged tankers are being escorted by 4 American warships, including the helicopter carrier Guadalcanal. The new convoy sailed in a hurry during the night, leaving behind the American flags for the re-registered tankers. The convoy stopped off Sharjah while helicopter mine hunters searched the sea lane. When the tankers reach Kuwait, it's expected they'll load up and join 4 more tankers which are waiting to go back down the Gulf.
This convoy is the third to be escorted into the Gulf by the American Navy, and this morning it was threading its way through waters where yesterday the Guadalcanal carried out mine hunting operations. 3 reflagged Kuwaiti tankers, led by the frigate Crommelin, with 2 other warships in attendance, made steady progress. They were met by helicopters from the Guadalcanal, which then flew ahead of them, sonar devices dangling. By midday, they would have caught a distant glimpse of the assault ship many miles ahead of them in the main shipping lanes. She was repeating yesterday's exercise, continuous sorties by the Sea Stallions up to 10 miles ahead of her, backed up by other support helicopters. Sniffing around all the time, the Iranian supply ship which latched onto the Guadalcanal yesterday. Eventually there was a rendezvous, and the American effort formed a 10-mile-long grey string, heading up the Gulf at a very slow pace, helicopters buzzing to the side and probing out front. This distinctive formation passed all manner of shipping plying its usual Gulf routes, the Russians on station, the local boats doing business. With the appearance of another convoy in the Gulf, in addition to the one in port in Kuwait, the escort operation has shifted into high gear. 7 tankers to receive very visible protection, and the whole passage through the Gulf to be probed for mines. This is Kate Adey for the 6 o'clock news in the Gulf.
Now, I think we can go live to our reporter in Hungerford, Peter Gould. Peter, what is the latest news about this incident?
Well, we've just had an update on the casualty figures. Tragically, the death toll now appears to be 9, with another 14 people injured. Obviously, there's still considerable confusion here. The police are trying to piece together exactly what happened, but a scene of devastation, obviously, in the village, and the man still at large.
Peter, is it your understanding that the police know where the man is? We've heard that they believe they may have him cornered near a school.
That's my understanding at the moment. There were conflicting reports earlier on. The man was seen first in one place, then another, but it does appear that he has been tracked down now to the area of the school, and it does appear that that is where the search at the moment is being concentrated.
Do the police have an idea of the identity of the man they're looking for?
Yes, they do. They have the man's name. They know where he's from. He's a man in his mid-20s from Hungerford, although obviously they're not releasing the man's name. Local people are mystified by what's happened. Many of the people I spoke to in the village, in the town this afternoon, know the man, and they can't account for what happened this afternoon.
Peter will be returning to you later in the programme, but for now, thank you.
The American journalist Charles Glass has been telling how he was chained and blindfolded and never saw another human face during his 2-month captivity in Beirut. Mr. Glass said he spent the time praying and plotting his escape. Today, after being reunited with his wife and children at a secret location,